flee to Abel. That's fleeing from the world, right? Fleeing from the world and coming to Abel, because this is the place that Yahweh's chosen to place his name. And as we heard, you got to believe in prophecy, right? You have to believe in prophecy, because that's what keeps us going and keeps us in the light of Yahweh. At this time, we get here from Great Kahan, Vineyard Cross Hawkins.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Yahweh's peace be with everyone. Please be seated and go ahead and put up that title slide. There you see in the Yahmatria, a nuclear war in and around the great river Euphrates. This is the title of part 9 here of the original Sons of Yahweh. And you'll see a number 413. Let's see why. Let's go to the next slide. This is the 45th year of the Mark of the Beast, 1976 to 2021. The first number you get when you put that in is 413. I'm telling you that's April 13th. You see the number on the right, 2021, that's this year. 413 should remind you of the sprinkling in 2004, 17 years ago. We became clean on that day for the first time. 17 years ago this year. Now, I'm only going to go over that middle number once, because there's too many of them. The middle number 2478 means to bring forth, fall grievously with pain, be much sore pain, be wounded, travail, to writhe in pain, sorrow, tremble, fear. Now, for you, you were just warned, stay, tarry, trust, wait carefully, and hope. That's for us, that part. It's going to be the 15th day of the Omer count toward Pentecost this year, 413. Strong's Greek 2478 means mighty, severe, mighty men, strong, equivalent to violent. From 2479, strong, force, forcefulness, power, might. From 2192, seize, sick, diseased. Yes, their minds are diseased. It's going to bring forth a nuclear war. Strong's Hebrew 2021 I showed last week was a chariot, a weapon of war. And 2021 is this year. And I'm going to prove that I was not wrong about that weapon of war being a missile. Let's go to the next slide. Revelation 9, 14, and 15, speaking of the first war that's coming. Loose the 4 angels who are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a moon and a year in order to slay the third part of men. We know that the 4 living, or the 4 angels, the 4 living, the quartet, were loosed on 9906 by our overseer. We know the 4 living is the quartet, 2002. You get that when you put in Yahmatria. Led by the Vatican. Okay, make no mistake, the quartet, the EU, Russia, the United States, and the UN, led by the Vatican. Let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about that word bound in Pastor's own words from the nuclear baby, verse 409. The word translated bound in Revelation 9:14 comes from a Hebrew word that means bound by necessity, lying in the nature of the case, as is used in Yochanan 3:30, translated must, imposed by a condition of mind. A condition of mind. Think of that for a minute. Necessity in reference to what is required to attain some end. Necessity established by a council, secret council, or party of people as the Democratic and Republican parties. Put that in, you get 2021 and the number 4. 4 is this month, April 2021. Okay? War imposed by a condition of minds, 2166 means time in the Hebrew, and 2166 in Greek means Euphrates River. Established by a council or a party of people, 413, you see that? The initial wars, Pastor says in this same chapter of the nuclear baby in verse 403, he said the initial wars will not darken the sun. That's also 413. Go to the next slide. Quote from the first book of Israel, chapter 18, verse 55. Pastor says, bound necessity, lying in nature of the case, imposed by a condition of the mind, necessity in reference to what is required to attain to some end, necessity established by a counsel or prophecies. In this case, it was established by counsels or prophecy, Pastor said. Now, what counsels? This is lifted exactly the way it's written. There might be a typo in there. That's not my typo. That's Yahweh's typo. Because that number 2420 is alluding to Daniel 8:23. Remember the sinister schemes, the intrigue, the tricks, the riddles of the Catholic Church, what we talked about a few sermons ago. And remember 1452, the second number in that quote, is the word Masons, which if you mirror, you get 3441 Jesuits. This is the secret councils that establish when this nuclear war will take place. When you mirror those two numbers, you get 9/11, and 4527, remember, means Mossad, who is the Hebrew or Jewish CIA. Let's go to the next slide. Now, this word bound, it means obligated. From Collins' dictionary, obligated means morally or legally bound to do something. And it gives the example, all members are bound by an oath of secrecy. Notice you get 5178, to practice serpent, to practice divination, to prognosticate. In other words, to tell ahead of time what's going to take place, which I'm going to show you they've done. 4150 means appointed time or place, times appointed. A signal as appointed beforehand. Something, it's a sign that they're going to show you beforehand. From 3259, to set a time, to fix by agreement. Notice, put in bound by an oath of secrecy, 1446, Masons, Jesuits. Nuclear war established by secret councils, 413, there's that date again. And the number 2764 means accursed, appointed to utter destruction, an object of doom, extermination, utterly destroy, devoted to destruction, and utterly slay. Let's go to the next slide. It says the first book of Israel, now it says this word bound means bound, necessity, lying in the nature of the case, imposed by a condition of the mind. Necessity in reference to what is required to attain to some end, necessity established by a councils or prophecies. In this case, it was established by councils and prophecy, Pastor said. And in the next verse, he says, if you remember, Malachi Martin in his book, The Keys of This Blood, revealed the plans of the Catholic Church. Put that in, you get 2154. Remember, it meant a plan, wicked scheme, evil intent, lustful crime. From 2161 to plan, plot, and scheme. If you recall, that's the number when you put in shown on a folded $20 bill, you get 2154. See the ark and the twin towers in that bill? The twin towers through the ark was also 2154 about this plan, this wicked scheme. And notice who's behind it. Vatican Hill up there on the top right, 666 and 911. When you reduce 666, you get 9, and when you reduce 911, you get 11. Let's go to the next slide. Now, this is the third time I'm coming to you, I'm talking to you, me, about this ark, this arch. This is the third sermon I've given about it. This will be the third time, 2 Corinthians 13:1, I'm coming to you, by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word will be established. Today we're going to talk about Treyarch. Treyarch means 3 arches. Treyarch is an American video game developer founded in 1996. I'm not going to read all that, but that's from Wikipedia. Notice 1674 it comes out to, which is the mystical mark of the beast. Remember the Roman numeral 1674? You put it in, you get 666. Treyarch. Let's go to the next slide. Their first video game was called Die by the Sword. From Wikipedia, it says the game allows players to independently command the movement and sword fighting of their in-game avatars, running, jumping, and turning with one hand while simultaneously slashing, stabbing, and parrying with another. Wonderful, right? 2154, the same number. You see that? The wicked plan, the scheme that they've got up their sleeve. It also says a sword fighting action adventure video game, 413. Now remember, Revelation 13:10, he who is for the sword must be killed with the sword. That's their first video game they came out with, but let's look at the next one. Let's go to the next slide. This is from the 17th book of Israel, chapter 45, verse 49 and 50. Quoting from a letter, pastor says, hopefully, if all goes well, half the Middle East will be Israeli. You see that? Remember the Gulf War series? Our young have been trained well for the last decade or so on combat console games. Did you all know about that, pastor says? Combat console games, the new Call of Duty Modern Version Warfare 3 game, which mirrors exactly what is to come in the near future. They're training them. They probably don't realize it altogether, that they're showing them what is they're going to do. They're trying to prepare them in their minds. Remember the condition of the mind? He says they're prepared well with these games they have for what is to come in the near future with its predictive programming, prognosticating. Our young in the U.S. and West are prepared because they have been programmed to be good soldiers. They've been programmed to do it. Notice, they've been programmed to murder, 2166, time in the Euphrates River. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3 console video game, predictive programming, 666. Let's go to the next slide. Put in the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 game, pastor's quote there. You get Arch, time, Euphrates River. And then notice this, 3187, it means to enroll yourself or be enrolled. Genealogically enrolled or registration. Anybody care to register for this? If you're playing these video games, you're already registered. You've already registered yourself. Notice it says in the Wikipedia article, both teams attempt to capture a flag in this game dropped by a first person who is killed when the match starts. The team of the person who holds the flag will get double points for their kills. You get the number 979 when you put that in, it means youth, young men, a young man, vigorous, man, selected, chosen, like selective service. Yeah, you're chosen for this war. And 979's from the page in the book of Yahweh that talks about the mark of the beast and also talks about Revelation 13:10. He who is for war must be killed. Notice another quote from that article, kill confirmed. Players must collect floating dog tags from the corpse of a downed enemy before the kill can be registered. However, the opposing team can pick up the dog tag as well to deny the other team a kill, which denies the other team a point. Put that in, you get 2218, the year that the Nimrod system, that Cush begot Nimrod. But also Revelation 2218, remember, you get the plague if you add to the word. Another quote, mission objectives vary in their requirements, ranging from having the player arrive at a particular checkpoint to eliminating enemies in a specified location, to standing their ground against enemy squadrons, directing remote operated weapons, and planting explosive charges on enemy installations. Put that in, you get 1776, the number on that New World Order symbol there on your money. You want to be part of that? Get your dog tag? Yeah, you're a dog, you're a sodomite if you're involved in this. You're part of the sodomy. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, remember part 5 of the series I gave about the 9/11 prognosticators. To prognosticate means someone who makes predictions of the future, usually on the basis of special knowledge, a person with unusual powers of foresight. When you put in someone who makes predictions of the future, usually on the basis of special knowledge, you get 5178, serpent, divining serpent, to practice divination, to prognosticate. This is talking about the Vatican, okay? They're the divining serpent. Look it up on Google. The prognosticators, Call of Duty, put that in, you get Arch, time, Euphrates River. 1727 means the adversary, an opponent, hostile, in the sight of, right in front of, in the presence of. Add up those numbers, you get 4254, which means ready, armed man, soldier, equipped for fight, armed man, armed soldier, to draw off or out, take away. That's what Satan would like to do with us if we're involved in this. Let's go to the next slide. Now, I told you about this April 13th or 413. I'm only going to report what Yahweh's showing. I'm not a prophet. I'm only reporting the numbers. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 from Wikipedia says private matches now include game modes including Infected, where the infected kill enemies to recruit them to their team. Drop Zone, where the player must hold a drop zone for points and care packages. Team Juggernaut, each team plays alongside an AI Juggernaut character. Gun Game, be the first to get one kill with every gun in the game. One in the chamber, in which players are allowed only one pistol with one bullet, and 3 lives where they can only get more bullets by killing other players. And Juggernaut, free for all against a Juggernaut, kill the Juggernaut to become it. Put that in, you get 5327. It means to strive, to quarrel, to be laid waste, ruinous heap. Remember Damascus? Desolate. Notice, from the nuclear baby prophecy on September 12, 2006 to April 13th this year is the same number, 5327. Is that a coincidence? Let's find out. Let's go to the next slide. Put in April 13th and 413, you get Arch, Time, and Euphrates River. Now, Call of Duty 3 came out on November 7th, 2006, right after the nuclear baby prophecy Pastor talked about. From Tuesday, November 7th, 2006 to April 13th this year is 5271 days. It means youth, early life, young people, boys, young men, young people, children, girls. Notice, girls, you're involved too. And it means from 5287 to be in violent commotion, be very angry, to lose. If you're playing this, you've already lost unless you repent, because you're getting ready. They're consecrating you for this war. Can I go to the next slide? Now, this is from Wikipedia. This is a table of contents of all the Call of Duty games. So what I did was I took the 6th game there on that list, Call of Duty Roads to Victory, right after Pastor gave the nuclear baby prophecy, and I traced them all from there, and I ended up on Cold War, which was released on 11/20/20. That's your road to victory. Notice, when you put all those in Yahmatria, it comes up 3601 and 21606. If you drop the zeros, you get Arch, Time, and Euphrates River. Then if you just put in the one from 2007, Roads to Victory, and Black Ops Cold War, the last one, you get 2154, a plan, a scheme. Remember? And you get 3011, which means a servant of the state, of military laborers. Let's go to the next slide. Put in from number 6, Call of Duty, Roads to Victory, okay, and go all the way to the very last one. You get 3601, 21. I just showed you all that, but I didn't show you this number 2893. Drop that 0, because it means purify yourself. Remember those who purify themselves in the gardens? You're not purifying yourself to Yahweh. You're becoming part of the heathen mysteries. Look below that. That's what it's used in. And notice, from March 13, 2007, when Roads to Victory was released, to April 13th this year is 5145, and it means crown, consecration, dedicate, consecrate, and devote. You become devoted to destruction, Kareem, utter destruction. Let's go to the next slide. Now, this might be a coincidence. I don't know, right? The very first Call of Duty was released October 29, 2003, right after the Afghanistan or right after Iraqi invasion. From Wednesday, October 29, 2003 to April 13th this year is 6377 days, and it means foreheads. Notice it's 911 weeks to the day. A third part of man killed over a fourth part of the earth in and around the great river Euphrates is 9/11. 5466 means land of the Chaldeans. That's that fourth part of the earth. And the third number, 4270, means consecrated, wholly dedicate, defile, sanctify yourself. Yes, that's what we're doing. If we're involved in this, we're sanctifying ourselves. Yahweh's not sanctifying us. We're consecrating and devoting ourselves to destruction. Get on these video games. You are devoted to destruction unless you repent. Let's go to the next slide. This is my last slide. Pay close attention. From the 7th book of Israel, part 2, I told you about that missile last week. Chapter 38, verse 138 in the Gulf War series. Pastor says, quote, chariot. Word for chariot is, I hope I get this right, Merkava. It's spelled M-E-R-C-O-V-A, and this is what the Hebrews call their tanks. Did you know that? Chariots mean Merkava means, or chariots, Merkava means chariot. Put that in Yahmatria, you get 1002, and it means a missile. A missile, remember 2021? A weapon of war? A chariot? Now, this might be a coincidence, right? Put in the, okay, from Monday, September 13th, 1993, when the peace agreement was signed between Israel, the Oslo Accord, the Israel and the Palestinians, to Tuesday, April 13, 2021 is 10,074 days. Drop the zero. That's Pastor's tag. He's been warning you about this. Notice, to the left there, the 10,074th day after September 13th, 1993 is 9/11. 5466, remember, meant land of the Chaldeans, in and around the great river Euphrates. And 5,000 went to that linen, righteousness, remember? You better be prepared, because if you don't have righteousness, that fine linen, you're going to get caught up. Remember what the great deacon said before me, get here. What are you waiting for? What do you have to lose? Except your life and your salvation. Now look to the right. This is the date of this year on 4/13. It's Yahweh 30, 2021. And then put in 4/13, 2021, you get 9/11 again. 9/11 means emergency or alert. Put in emergency or alert 9/11. Hey, look, I'm not a prophet or anything. All right, I don't even claim to be, I'm nobody. Pastor is, you're the one that tells us the prophecies. I'm only showing you the numbers. Make of it what you will. But if I was you, I would get here and I would stay. I would tarry. I would wait. I would trust in Yahweh. And at this time, it's my great honor and privilege to turn it over to the great Kohan Michael.